Hi, this is Jerry King, and I'm back with another quick segment. Hopefully, it's just a quick segment on Four Pillars of Destiny. And today I'm going to be talking about um, going to jail. Kind of scary when we think about this, going to jail. Um, the thing with this is when we think about jail, we think about people committing crimes, lawsuits, um, doing something nasty. It could be anything too. It could be just running someone over in a car accident. Yeah, like there's so many different scenarios in life where you end up going to jail, right? It could be just not paying your bills for a long period of time, and depending on the rules and laws of each country too. It's so subjective as to how you go to jail. But anyhow, there are specific items in the chart where we can see whether a person has a possibility of going to jail. Okay. Um, I don't want to just use these examples and say that, oh, this is it, right? Obviously there's way more. Um, but obviously the controlling element is one of the key components of having the possibility of going to jail or having just lawsuits in general, right? It sounds bad when we talk about going to jail anyways. Um, anyhow, so basically it's the first point where the controlling element is considered to be negative, so a negative God in the birth chart, and encountering the friend or the rob wealth would increase the chance of a person committing a crime and being caught for the crime. Um, yeah, so basically just word for word, very straightforward. If the controlling element is not favorable towards the chart, obviously, when this specific controlling element shows up, it's going to cause problems related to the law, generally speaking. So in this instance, the controlling element is most likely strong and prosperous with the absence of the resource element. So this is another point that I just have here. So I shouldn't use the word in this instance. Anyways, when the controlling element is most likely strong and prosperous with the absence of the controlling element to disperse the controlling element, it's common that when the controlling element is too strong in a birth chart, the person may lose control of his or her discipline. So basically, I'm just gonna make this quick fix here. Oh, so I shouldn't say in this instance. This is another bullet point here. And so it is common that the controlling element is too strong for the birth chart. When that happens, the person will lose control of her discipline. So think about it as being fed and overfed with something. Then the possibility of throwing up is high. So it's the same as saying that having so much controlling elements, then it's supposed to represent discipline, and suddenly you lose discipline because you're being overburdened or overwhelmed by the controlling element. Okay, so the controlling element is often looked upon as a mechanism of discipline. The opposite occurs when there is too much of the controlling element in the system. So too much of a good thing can lead to a bad thing too. I guess having too much water could be fine when you're drinking so much water. I mean, our human body needs water. Maybe that's fine. I haven't overdosed on water before. I don't know if there's any such thing called overdosing on water. Maybe someone could correct me. Anyways, but yeah, overdosing on specific things, overeating, obviously you're gonna throw up. Over amount of controlling element is a problem. But then your question could be like, what about an overly amount of wealth? Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Well, it depends on the chart. Depends on the flow too. Having too much money sometimes is not good because you just drop it all on the floor, right? Just trying to carry too much money. But our focus is on the controlling element. So, oops, sorry about that. Flip flopping around. So what we have here is, okay, we have a yin wood. on a day and a rabbit in the month. And there's obviously a wood combination here. So when we talk about the dominance of a specific element, this is it, where you have water supporting the wood. There's a combination wood combo, possibly additional wood combo, if you believe in having a month branch combining with the hour branch. Having said that, let's say if a pig comes in, obviously, then it doesn't matter. Now you're just increasing the amount of wood. There's more wood in a year as well. So the possibility of this person becoming a dominant wood is very high. And when you have Earth here, Earth becomes the problem because it tries to create the wood to fight with the Earth. What we have here now, the problematic animal is the rooster. The rooster represents the controlling element. So if we go back to the previous slide, controlling element is considered to be negative God in the birth chart. This would be considered a negative God, right? Let's go back here again. Encountering the friend or the raw wealth would increase the chance of a person committing a crime and being caught for the crime. So what we have here, friend up here, friend here. There's more friends underneath, and then now you have this. So basically, when you have this, it's if you increase the intensity of the rooster, increase the intensity of the metal. If let's say this person runs an ox cycle, which he did, and he got caught for a crime, sent to jail. I'm not going to go into the details on this one. But yeah, the key point I want to point out here is you have a flow of wood. You're injecting metal. Metal chops the wood. Boom, chart falls apart when you add more metal cycles. So such as, let's say, the additional rooster years, ox year, ox cycle, rooster cycle, snake cycle. You can see right now my thought process goes through the 3 harmony combination, and that's how I determine where these bad cycles or bad years are. Usually I focus more on the 3 harmony combination, okay? So yeah, keep a long story short, bad element, it's a controlling element, and obviously an opportunity to offend. Okay, we'll go to the next one. So here's example 2. When the output element is in conflict with the controlling element within the birth chart, lawsuits may occur. Output, so basically output attacking the controlling element. Such, I'll explain in a sec. Okay, such conflict can be described as having the controlling element as the useful god. Then the system encounters the output element violating its control. Another type of conflict occurs when the output element interrupts the leading flow of the controlling element. Well, in this case, this is the metal, right? I would consider this as a very important. I would say this is quite useful. The metal is quite useful because what you want to do here, so you see a lot of earth here. So first thing comes to mind, this person has a lot of earth. Possibility of surrendering to the earth element, to the earth energy. Obviously, there's some conflicting schools of thought where, oh, this person's born in a dragon month, lots of wood, and then there's yang wood and a tiger. So wouldn't this person just be a strong wood with lots of wealth? That's also a possibility. It's a good argument. But fortunately for this slide, I'm not focusing on that aspect. What I want to identify is whether the controlling element is useful. So in this case, let's assume, let's go with possibly your scenario where you may think this is a strong wood. Okay, let's just say this is a strong wood because he's born in the spring and there's wood and wood, if that makes you feel better. The thing is, now you need the metal. Obviously, you need the metal because the metal will control the wood, right? So the metal, we can say it is one of the useful elements, because now we're trying to balance the chart, if that's the process, the thought process that you have there. Okay, second scenario that I prefer to look at is, okay, there's a lot of earth. Yeah, there's a Yangwood tiger in the year, but I believe the earth is still quite strong here. So a possibility of going towards, I would say this would be a fake surrender to wealth. In this case, the problem is, should we go with wealth or not? Because let's say we do, and the wealth does feed into metal, because there's also hidden metal inside the ox. This metal is still useful. It's still important, because you need to chop away the rival. This is what I call a key rival. You chop away the rival. That way you can maintain being what I would designate as a surrender system, right? Surrendering, being overly weak, right? Where you can go with a specific flow. So we got two possible scenarios where, one, this could be strong, or two, this could surrender. Nevertheless, the metal is important. So what happens? How do we violate? How do we lead this person to jail? I'm not saying that we purposely do something to throw this person in jail. Obviously, the output element can have a detrimental impact on this. Even though I'd say, hey, let's say, ooh, this one goes with wealth. So should we use output to feed the wealth? Yeah, we should, or possibly. However, after having said that, we still have to consider what the function of this metal is. The metal can possibly get rid of the rival. That's more important. Now, if you start injecting fire to burn that, that's a problem, right? Then you're actually offending the controlling element. The other scenario where we would call this a strong wood, which is also possible. If you put fire into this, you're burning. Aren't you weakening the chart? Yeah, we're weakening the chart or weakening the wood. So then now this person can take the money, right? But the other thing is, you weaken the wood, you're also offending what's important, which is the metal. So, something to think about, something to chew upon. These are just some of the notes that I found. I got hundreds of pages of notes where I've never presented or never even have written in a book before. So, hopefully you find this useful. I'm going to put up more of my notes that I found that I can use in my future videos. So, just to quickly summarize here, controlling element, if it is useful and if it is under attack, there's a possibility of going to jail. I'm not saying that you have to go to jail. It could be just lawsuits. Okay. The other scenario, that previous scenario, was if the person was dominant and suddenly you inject a controlling element in there, there's also a possibility of offending the law. We're talking about more about offending the law. But in these two cases, in this chart, these people ended up in jail. Okay. It could be worse, depending on how strong the metal cycles are for this one, right? The stronger it is, the more offending that that person does. Okay. So yeah, a couple things to keep in mind. I just wanted to keep it simple. So if the controlling element is unfavorable and you increase the power to controlling element, obviously offending the law. And second one, controlling element being favorable and it is under attack from a luck cycle, from, let's say, in this case, a fire cycle, you offend the law as well. So basically, I want to keep it short. Two scenarios here. So feel free to rewind, hit the pause button, replay it, and hopefully you'll find this interesting and use this for your examples or your studies as well. So that's it for today. I will post up more of my old notes or notes that I can find in the future, and I will try to share them on video. I'm too lazy to compile all this information in a book. It takes too much time. I think doing a video is much better. So we'll keep in touch and I will see all of you soon. Thanks.